shortly. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited for us to be here together. It is our first doctor's orders session for the year. So, Happy New Year, everybody. No, I'm not going to sing my favorite Feliz Navidad song. Not this time, but maybe next time. Now, for those of you who've seen us before, you'll remember that we're part of the Juice Plus organization, and we come to you every week with information that can be helpful. We want to remind you that the information is not to replace your conversation with your medical professional. This is for your education, for your information, and so that you can take this information and share it with your medical professionals so you can have that conversation and you can have them as your support and work with you to achieve your health goals because they know you better than we do. They have access to testing and access to your history, which we don't. And so we just hope that you're going to use this information to be part of a larger body of information that you will use to make informed decisions. So, as I said, this is Coach Carla Joy. This is Doctor's Orders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how you're going to reset your health. There are things that you can do. I don't know if you've ever felt like you're a victim of your environment, a victim of circumstances, or even a victim of your own personal choices, or choices that other people made over which you had no control. Well, if you've ever felt like that, I'm hoping that today's information will make you feel that there's hope. You know, I started on this journey many years ago. I had I guess I was delusional. I thought I was healthy. And uh, even medical professionals have to have health checkups. And so I took off my white coat and I scheduled my visit with the doctor. They took blood, and so there I am in the waiting room. Have you ever noticed how those rooms, the exam rooms, are kind of cold? I don't know why they're so cold. But anyway, there I am waiting expectantly to get my clean bill of health. And instead, when my practitioner comes in, she says, "Young lady, you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and prediabetes." Now, this scared me. Why? Because I had a family history. My mother and her father both died of cancer. My father and his brother both suffered from the effects and died from the effects of cardiovascular disease. Um, my my mother's mother, both passed away from the side effects and the long term effects of diabetes, one of diabetes type 1 and the other of diabetes type 2. Um, and I had a cousin that died of cancer also, and another cousin and a grandparent that died from the long-term effects of autoimmune conditions. So I was afraid because when I was told that I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and prediabetes, I realized that having been eating a standard American diet, which included Philly cheesesteaks and soft pretzels and lots of other things that tasted so good, and lots of cheese, and all of these things, that with the blood work, with the diagnoses, I was already a statistic. I was already in danger. And that that made me scared. I knew that I had family history. I knew I now had data that indicated that I was a statistic. In fact, why did I even think I was healthy? Because I thought I was one of the healthiest people I knew. But how was that even possible when I had grown up in my teen years with digestive issues? In fact, we would say our family, we have sensitive stomachs. We had digestive issues throughout my family. I had skin conditions, my face, my scalp. I would easily break out in rashes. I had allergies to things that I touched, to things I breathed. I had musculoskeletal problems, aches and pains that later on I discovered were arthritic. I also had occasional severe back spasms that were immobilizing. So why did I think I was healthy? It was, maybe it was because all of these things were common. And so I felt like, I was doing better than the average person, but obviously I wasn't healthy. So I had to get to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired and acknowledge that I was not healthy. And in this whole process, I actually paused and prayed. Um, and I prayed for something that I'd never seen. You know, Working in the hospitals, being trained alongside physicians and nurses, I had seen a lot of people get diagnosed just as I had. And although there were protocols that we had to learn that the doctors were using, the people never really got better. They sometimes felt better, but they never really got better. So I was praying for something that I had never really seen. And how do you go from a medical system which is great for emergencies? Um, if something happened to me, if I was in an accident, I'd want to be in the United States because there's great emergency care. But with all the education I had, with all the doctors and nurses that I knew and with whom I could communicate, how do you go from a system that did not help you protect you from the same conditions that I was learning to manage? Where do I find the information to help me get better? I had to look to some friends. Many of you know one of my besties, Ruthie. She had been struggling with her health, but she'd been thriving. She had gone from struggling to thriving. So I asked her what were some of the things that she had done, and she told me about some of the lifestyle changes that she had made. And we went to different practitioners. We started reading books. We started making changes. I dragged my other bestie, Casey, along with me because I figured if I was going to get healthy, she was going to get healthy with me. We started juicing. We started walking. We started trying to do things to change because we knew if we don't change, we wouldn't change. If we didn't change something, nothing else would change. So we went to different alternative practitioners. We read books. We started investigating this whole new world of health that was outside the healthcare system. And then one day, my goddaughter, she's now a doctor of physical therapy, she introduced me to the documentaries Forks Over Knives, where I first saw my mentor, Dr. Pam Popper, and Dr. Greger's lecture on uprooting the cause of disease, which is based on the CDC's 15 most common causes of death and disability in the United States. So my goddaughter, she saw how much I was suffering. She wasn't delusional like I was. She saw how much I was suffering. She wanted to help me feel better and get better. And so she showed me this information when she got it. And I got to realize that lifestyle changes and changing the way I ate to whole food plant based was going to be the answer to all of the challenges that I was facing. So when I saw Forks Over Knives and I heard about people like Dean Ornish, Caldwell Esselstyn, T. Colin Campbell, Neil Barnard, to name a few, uh, when I saw the work on the blue zones, saw the documentary Game Changers, saw the work of Dr. Brooke Goldner and Goodbye Lupus, and the work of Dr. Saray Stanzik in her documentary Code Blue, I realized that there was more than 50 years of research and changed lives. I mean, there were stories in these documentaries about people, real people whose lives have been changed, and real research that not only showed that whole food plant-based eating was important, but showed that it was the only lifestyle eating plan that would reduce the risk of the 15 most common causes of death, slow the progress of, and in many cases reverse those conditions. So, what is whole food plant based eating? I'm glad you asked. That's when 90% of your calories, 90% or more of your calories come from eating plant material. That would be vegetables, fruit, grains, peas and beans. Vegetables could be your green leafy or your multicolored vegetables and your root vegetables as well. But that means that less than or equal to 10% of your calories could come from animal products. Now, when you look at the fruits and vegetables, the grains, the peas and beans, you needed 7 to 13 servings, according to the research done over these decades. 7 to 13 servings, that's a lot of fruits and vegetables. So people wouldn't be hungry. And water would be your main drink. But the things that whole food plant-based eating wouldn't contain would be dairy products. So no milk, no cheese, no cream, no butter, no, and also separate from the dairy products, no added oils. Now we can talk more about this because I wanted to understand why all of this worked, and so I actually went back to school to try to find that out. Then that's when I got involved with Wellness Forum Health, and I became a health educator, and I learned all of this information. Um, so making this switch was part of the pillars of health, the 6 pillars of health. And so what I discovered that it was a challenge to make those shifts, but if you could do like one simple change, then you could begin to see results. And I'm really glad about that because I realized I was introduced by Jennifer New to concentrated fruits and vegetables in capsules, in the complete shake, in the superfoods, the luminate, and the the super biome. All of these things, I'll talk a little bit more about them in a few moments. But I began to realize that not only was it possible for people to begin to make the shifts, it was challenging because most people don't eat more than 2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. That's according to the CDC. That only about 5% of the American population gets 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. So making that leap to adding more fruits and vegetables is doable. But if you had help by adding the concentrated fruits and vegetables in capsules and the complete shake, etc., then it was doable for me. So we all have busy lives. Sometimes we have to travel. Sometimes our family members are not on board with the changes we're ready to make. And sometimes our work environment is almost set up as though it's totally against that. I mean, have you ever gone to the break room and you can actually smell the sugar? Or have you ever walked down the grocery aisle and you can smell the flour and the yeast from the different types of bread? It's almost as though there's a conspiracy to get you to eat things, not just that they are all intrinsically bad, but it's just too much. Too many donuts, too much pizza. So, one simple change, and being in a community of health conscious women and being exposed to the 6 pillars of health could make a difference. And it made a difference for me. It meant that it was doable. We saw in the documentaries that real people were seeing real results. But then I began to see real results. In fact, less than a year after being introduced to the concentrated fruits and vegetables that we'll be talking about in a few minutes, I was given a clean bill of health. No more high blood pressure, no more high cholesterol, no more prediabetes. Whew. And I'll tell you of a couple other things that have changed. But what are some of the changes that I had made? Well, because of being part of this community, I'd heard about the 6 pillars of health: water, movement, and I just call it walking because that's one of the simplest things that we could do, increasing our sleep, resting and recreation, which includes being part of a community. And that is really important. In fact, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine includes being part of a community as one of their 6 pillars of health. Environmental detoxing, reducing the amount of toxic chemicals we use in our homes, at our jobs, and wherever we go. And the biggest pillar, the most effective pillar, is whole food, plant-based eating, which we just defined a few moments ago. So we found that what worked in the documentary was working in the lives of real people that we could see and touch, because we were part of this Juice Plus community where people were making these one simple changes. They were adding the concentrated fruits and vegetables so that they could, and that was the one simple change. So whether they had issues with their work, whether they had issues with members of their family, whether they had issues with their busy lifestyle, they were able to add the concentrated fruits and vegetables to their eating plan, and that was making a difference that in terms of their healthy living journey. So let me just briefly share with you, these are what we call the quad. You have 30 fruits, vegetables, and berries, plus the omega blend. And what is huge and special about the omega blend is that it's completely plant-based. A lot of people are attempting to get their omega fats from fish. Did you know that fish don't make omegas? That's right. They actually get it from algae. And so we bypass the middle fish and actually go to other plant sources, the algae, pomegranate seed, raspberry seeds, and others, so that you get the omegas from plants without having to get exposure to the toxins from the environment where the fish was swimming, or from the toxins, because the fish, of course, that they're harvesting for the omegas, they're at the top of the food chain. So all the toxins are concentrated through that food chain into those fish. So we don't have to get exposed to that. And we get all of the omegas as they occur that we need as they occur in the plants. We get omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. So it's a whole blend. We get 10 vegetables, 10 fruit, and 10 berries. So with this one simple change, you can add servings of fruits and vegetables to your eating plan so that you can jumpstart your healthy living journey. In addition, we have the complete shakes. Now, a lot of people like to have a protein powder because we've been told that a little bit of protein is good and more protein is better. The problem is that we only need 10% of our calories coming from protein. I know, in the United States, we tend to eat 30% or more. The problem is that when we get so much protein, our body does not use all of it. It breaks down the excess protein. It doesn't store it. It breaks it down. And our kidneys are involved in getting rid of the waste products. And in addition, if our proteins are coming mainly from animal sources, we're tending to get some of the amino acids which are the units of the protein, which if there are too many, they tend to be toxic. But when we get our protein from plant sources, you can actually take a little more than that 10% and without having the negative effects. Now, we're not suggesting that you eat 30% of your calories coming from protein, but with the complete shake, you get plant-based protein, but you also get fiber. Now, fiber is not available from animal protein sources. So if you're eating a lot of animal protein sources, you are restricting the amount of fiber you're exposed to, and fiber is an essential nutrient. So here we have a protein powder, plant-based with fiber, and we have prebiotic fibers that feed the gut microbiome, and we have other vegetables in the complete shake as well. In addition to that, we have the luminate. Now, the luminate contains ashwagandha, alpinia galanga, cordyceps, sage, coffee berries, and rhodiola. Now, what the Illuminate does is that it provides us calm, focus, energy so that you have access to energy without hyperstimulation, but it helps you focus and it allows you to stay calm. Now, for many years, we only had access to the concentrated fruits and vegetables in capsules, but now we have access to them in a sachet. You can just add it to water. And so you can get all of the fruits, vegetables, and berry concentrates in a powder. You just add it to water and you can drink it. And finally, we have the gut support, the superbiome. It's made up of two parts. The capsule, which contains the probiotic, the actual bacteria. They're in a delayed release capsule so that they can navigate the acidity of the stomach without being destroyed by that acid environment. And we have the fibers, the prebiotic fibers, to feed the gut bacteria. Because it's one thing to put the bacteria into our digestive system, but if we don't have the fiber that it needs, then they will not survive and thrive. So let me ask you a question right now, right quick. What if all that happened when you made this one simple change? What if all that happened was that your pain was reduced by 50%? Would it be worth it to you? Or what if all that happened was that your digestive issues went down by about 50%? That's what happened to me. Instead of having digestive issues all the time, I had them now once in a while. And what if you had immune function improve? In other words, you stopped getting colds all the time. You stopped having to go to the doctor as frequently. You stopped having to take all your allergy medications. I'm not suggesting that Juice Plus is going to treat or cure any condition. But what I'm saying is, what if making the one simple change of adding the concentrated fruits and vegetables could have that impact? Is that something that you would want to hear more about? Wouldn't you want to know more about it? Would you want to know that later, or would you want to know it now? I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want to offer you a solution so that when you leave this video, this time with us today, that you could actually get started on your own healthy living journey. So, do you mind if I take a few minutes to go over what is available for you today? Would you put in the chat? Would you mind if I just take a couple more minutes to go over what is available? Well, if you guys don't want me to do it, I won't do it. I know this information. I've actually been living like this for more than a decade, using the concentrated fruits and vegetables in the capsules, the complete shake, and now the powder, the superfood, adding the luminate to give me calm, focused energy, and the super biome to re readjust my digestive system and improve my immune function. Okay, I see a yes in the chat. Thank you. So we put together a stack of benefits for being part of this community. The first is a free private Facebook group. Now, in that group, you'll get education, recipes, encouragement, accountability. Now, I don't know how many of you that are on this presentation or seeing this presentation have already been in our Wellness Reset Facebook group, but there's been information about recipes, there's been information about stress and staying calm. There's been information on that's been just really good, and even some exercise programs. So if you have not seen that, I just really encourage you. This alone is so valuable. And many programs, when they create a Facebook group, they charge you about $97 a month to be part of such an elite group. And this group has been running from January 5th. It's not too late for you to join because it's going to go all the way through February the 3rd. So you don't have to pay, but it's worth more than $97 a month. The second thing that you have access to is purchasing a 4-month supply of the Juice Plus Quad, or with the omegas, or the superfood, or the microbiome, or the luminate. We have several different groups that you can choose from. If you can ask the person who invited you, they'd be happy to show you the bundles that we have. And until the 19th, I think it's the 19th of January, you can actually get a free gift when you make your purchase. So by becoming part of this community, you get access to the free Facebook group where you can talk with other people, where you can learn, where you can have support from other like-minded health concerned individuals. And then you'll get access to purchasing your own supply of the concentrated fruits and vegetables that made such a difference in my life. And you can ask other people, there'll be testimonials there about other people's whose lives and health have been transformed. Again, I'm not saying it can treat or heal, but it gives your body the nutrition it needs so that the body can heal itself. And as I said, that they're going to be special. So this second item is worth more than $500, and you can get it for even less. The third thing that's available is a free one-on-one coaching program with 5 sessions with me, Coach Carla Joy. We can do a challenge together where you can jumpstart your healthy living journey. I can help you move into momentum because you'll know what to do. I've already told you about the 6 pillars of health, but how many of us know what to do and haven't done it? Or how many of us get started in the first week of January and by the second week, nothing's happening. Or by the end of January, nothing's happening. By getting those 5 sessions with me, remember it's free, it's one-on-one. It's going to be about half an hour to 45 minutes, and you can have the support. You can have a game plan, you can have the support, and you can have the accountability to make sure that you have a great reset. So you have the free Facebook group, you get access to the fruits and vegetables, the concentrated fruits and vegetables, you get an opportunity to do a 5-day challenge with me, and you get invitations to upcoming events, like the event that's taking place tomorrow, where you can learn from experts, health experts and industry experts in detail about the Juice Plus products and about the opportunity. You see, some people, like myself, are so grateful for what this journey has done for us in terms of restoring our health, that we want to help other people do it. And there's an opportunity that you can hear about how you can be reimbursed for the effort of reaching out and helping other people with their lives. So you can join our mission to inspire healthy living, share with others, and get rewarded with extra income. I don't know about you, but for some people, an extra $30 or $50 or $100 or $1,000 a month could make a difference. I mean, it could be a gas bill, it could be enough to fill up your tank. And I'm not making income claims here, but the more people you help, the more you are rewarded. So once again, you get access to the Facebook group, the free private Facebook group where you can do your wellness reset, where they'll be educating us every day for the next 30 days. You'll get access to the Juice Plus product. In fact, the person who invited you can send you a link and you can make your purchases today and you can get started with your one simple change, regardless of who's supporting you in your household, of whether or not your environment at work is supportive in terms of what's available for you to eat. I mean, these complete shakes can make an amazing meal replacement when everything around you is not good for you to eat. You can get the one-on-one coaching with me, 5 days free, and you can get invitations to upcoming events. Like this event tonight, we have this every Friday night, and we have a special event tomorrow where you can hear industry leaders and medical professionals talk about the products in detail, and you might even get more of your questions answered. So I hope that this has been a great opportunity for you to hear more about what's available and what's possible for you. So the Wellness Reset is available for you. You can get the fruits and vegetables. You can get coaching from me, and you can get invited to upcoming events. So speak to the person who invited you, raise your hand and say, I want to move forward, or I want to at least know more. I want to thank you so much for joining us. This is Coach Carla Joy. And as part of the Juice Plus community, I want to thank you for taking the time to hear what's possible for you, because it's possible. I didn't know it was, I didn't even know it existed. And then I heard about the research. I heard about the experience of other people. And then I joined the community and I met people. And then I began to go on my own journey and my health improved. What's possible for you? Join us and see. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you. And something that we say every time that we get together, if anybody's here and you'd like to unmute so that you can tell our friends,
eat more fruits and vegetables.
Eat more fruits and vegetables. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. Coach Carla Joy and friends. Oh, there's Ruthie, my bestie.
Hey, bestie.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.